This is one of the early rides in Romania with a mad bunch of Kiwis. Superficially, New Zealanders are very similar to Australians. Except they talk better, are more cultured, know how to use knives and forks, and they are far less likely to steal your stuff when your back is turned. You see, New Zealand was never a dumping ground for Britain's worst criminals in the way Australia was. So, sadly, they lack this sort of heritage. I did not realise these Kiwis were pro-level riders. They even had their own uniform.
Of course, one of the things is it's pretty daunting riding with these factory-sponsored riders. And man, you can see where these guys have ridden. Auckland, Singapore, Cebu, Munich.
The ride starts out well enough. Our guides have warned us about being very careful if we run into flocks of sheep. That sounds normal enough, but they crossed themselves as they said this, which left us with a sense of unease. And of course, we run into a sheep flock almost immediately.
Romanian peak hour. Sorry guys, do you mind if I don't want to panic anyone? I just want to get my bike. I don't want any trouble. I don't know, a Romanian sheep vicious? Just back away quietly before they attack. Uh-oh, here they come.
And if the sheep aren't ominous enough, there are always these big shaggy sheepdogs too.
Yeah.
At a later point, I asked very Romanians about their sheep flocks in Transylvania. Most ran away screaming. I did Google around and found some references to zombie sheep. I was lucky to get away. There were far more sheep than we realised. Anyway, back to riding. There's a huge variety of tracks around here, from easy tracks with stunning views through to Romaniac's gold sections that would probably see us going home in wheelchairs. Our guides have assessed the group well and picked a pile of intermediate tracks that are enough challenge to keep the better riders entertained, but not too crazy for the less experienced guys. Man, I still cannot get over how long these climbs and descents run for. Quite a few of the guys end up sitting on their seats, and I'm so glad I brought a pair of steg pegs over, so I can stand on the foot pegs most of the day without getting too tired. If you aren't concentrating, there are plenty of rocks and roots that can launch you down the hillside, and I reckon sitting down multiplies your chances of that happening. times each day, our guides take us through various villages before hitting the next mountain. And as usual, the residents smile and wave. The kids love it especially. Although one of these cheeky buggers tried to take my glove off.
Come on, guys! Uno, doi, tre.
I popped a wheelie for them, then suddenly dropped it as I remembered we were meant to be polite, responsible riders in the village. Damn it. Most of you know that KTM two-strokes are now TPI, transfer port injection. There's been a lot of debate about this injection system, but I must say it makes the two-stroke more comfortable on the road. You know how two-strokes hate doing constant revs on flat ground? That kind of tang, 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 tang. The TPI definitely smooths that out a lot. Mind you, most of us don't buy a two-stroke for road riding or setting a constant speed on flat ground, but I still think it is a small advantage of the system. Another climb. Apparently one of the advantages of TPI is meant to be that automatic adjustment for altitude. But the weird thing I noticed was the TPI bikes still lose a fair bit of power on the taller mountains and stalled more easily. I asked the Romanian crew about this and they agreed. It seems even if the system is adjusting for the thinner air, the overall result is still less power. The guys used to run carbureted KTMs and I asked how they compared. Interestingly, they said they hadn't noticed a significant improvement at altitude with the TPI if the carby models were jetted correctly. So interesting to hear this, and I'd be keen to hear what other TPI owners have to say. I do know many said the move to TPI was only forced by stricter European emissions controls and not driven by performance gains.
How's the view?
Stunning, isn't it?
Check this out, guys. Gold everywhere we look. I think we're rich. So, some are storing it on their tyres.
Look at the gold in there.
An expensive tyre.
All the money.
Oh man, time to retire.
Getting close to home now, and today home isn't our regular farmhouse. The guys have organised us for us to stay in another village tonight, which will give us access to a pile of great new tracks tomorrow. And the lodgings are looking pretty good.
Damn, the guys are looking after us. Apparently this is my room for the night.
Time for us old guys to compare today's injuries and see our unofficial doctor for medication.
we definitely have a few bruises,
One or two.
post-ride bruises, and I'm no exception. This is Doctor,
Here we
our
go.
doctor.
So this is prescription sodium diflofenac. It is fantastic because we're old and broken, and this stuff works a treat. And then this one here, Voltaren and Emu Gel. Rub it on all your broken bits. And so we need it. We're getting a bit on.
Broken bits, well, I've got a few of those, mate. Some might be a bit...
I think your ribs are a wee bit tight there, Barry, but anyway.
Mate, thank you. And what should I take with this?
Diflofenac. It works a treat, mate.